Mark Evans and Nick Griffith, McConaghy, McConaghy, Boats, BOATS.com. Thank you so much for taking the time this morning. Again, Mark, it's been a little over a year since we spoke. Nick and I were just discussing a few tidbits of 2022, and he's been expressing some optimism and excitement for 2023. We touched upon that you're going to be at the upcoming exciting boat show, which I will allow Nick to pronounce that correctly so that I don't mispronounce it.
Dusseldorf.
Right.
Dusseldorf Boat Show, or Boot Dusseldorf to use its formal title.
Boot Dusseldorf.
And that starts on the 21st of this month and runs for about 10 days. And it's the biggest. It is a phenomenal show. It is the largest indoor boat show exhibition in the world by some way. There are something like 20 very, very large halls, which are demonstrating all inside as you would expect at the time of the year, showing everything, any boating or anyone interested in any form of water sport or yachting or boating or sailing or whatever you could ever possibly imagine. It is phenomenal. It's a huge show.
How exciting. And have you, or I should perhaps ask, how many times have you attended?
Well, we've, with my McConaghy hat on, this will be our third or fourth show. Last year the show didn't happen because of the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
But previously we've had stands there. I think this will be. I'm pretty confident this is our third, if not our fourth time we've been there. My broader group of I've got an organisation that sells a multitude of brands, and we've been attending Dusseldorf probably very solidly, certainly for the last 10 years. It's sort of taken over as the prime winter show in Europe.
And will McConaghy be at the upcoming shows in Florida as well?
Yeah, we'll be present in Florida as well, for sure. Yep. So I'm not sure whether we'll get a yacht there this year. We had one last year, but definitely we'll be there. We'll have a presence there.
Fantastic. And simply since it has been just over a little bit over a year since we first had that great conversation, Mark, with McConaghy, you have boats, 50 years of building composites for the world's toughest conditions and customers. I love that. More Moxie Yacht honor wins than any other builder, cutting-edge design, world-leading technologies. And then within that 50 years, now it would be 23 years under the helm of yourself, Mark, correct?
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, no, it's been a bit of a journey, and you have your ups and downs in any industry, but we're definitely starting to ride the new wave, if I could put it that way, and we're building some pretty exciting stuff.
And exciting stuff. What is most exciting to you right now with respect when you state that?
I mean, obviously, multi-hull range is taking off. We've got a full factory at the moment, and we're locking in future orders, which is great. But also working alongside the America's Cup teams. We're building all the AC40s for all the teams, and not only the teams, but for private clubs or individuals. So some clubs, we've got a couple of clubs that have already built slot deposits down for the women and youth racing at the America's Cup. So they're going to enter the match racing there in the 40s, which is part of the whole America's Cup program. And then we're stepping into the hydrogen chase boats. So we're doing a 10-metre version of the hydrogen chase boats for the America's Cup as well. So at the moment we've got 2 under contract and another 3 or 4 or 5 to come.
How exciting. Congratulations.
Mm. And all these boats, like you talk about the 40, the monohull, it's just, it's almost a 50 knot boat. The hydrogen chase boat is a 50 knot boat. Wow. So the technology going into those is pretty incredible. So we're, very proud and very lucky to be involved in it all.
And Mark has been typically modest about McConaghy's and where they stand, and it's interesting. I grew up in Australia where McConaghy's were a leading, where they started building, as you were saying in your intro, the world's leading composite race boats, and they were absolute, and still are, but absolutely the cutting edge in those days, back 30, 40 years ago. And it was always considered, if you were going to build the best in race boats, you'd try and get a slot at McConaghy's and get them to build the boat, because they would develop their technology. They developed the technology they developed themselves, but also the utilization of other technologies into their boats gave their boats a very, very competitive edge. And it's interesting to see today. I mean, Mark's building up. We're collectively building up the multi-hull, the cruising boat side, which has a lean towards the performance history of the performance side of the McConaghy's bring to us. And then see today that they're still leading the charge in the most, at the very cutting edge of technical boat building by way of these AC40s, and it's a huge compliment to McConaghy's that the America's Cup, the defenders of the America's Cup have gone into partnership with McConaghy's to develop and build these America's Cup 40, and which is absolutely fantastic, and that is yet another commercial opportunity. But what it does demonstrate to the cruising catamaran purchaser is that by having their boat, by having their multi-hull built at McConaghy's, they're actually benefiting from 50 years of what still is the cutting edge of composite construction, and that's what excites us about it. It's fantastic. We can put this product in front of well-informed, experienced owners and say, this is what it's about. And it's interesting, if you look at the customers that have built their multi-hulls with McConaghy's over the last couple of years, these are very experienced, well-informed owners, and it's the challenge we have now is to get that message out and across to the broader market, because that's where from a sales perspective, see the growth.
Very well said. Thank you for that. And as we were touching upon for a brief moment, Nick, before Mark joined us, is also what an exciting time with respect to the accelerated growth and excitement and interest in the cruising cats and the multi-hulls and whatnot at this moment.
Yeah, I mean the multi-hull. I mean we've seen an explosion explosion. There's been enormous growth in multi-hull sailing for all the benefits that the catamaran brings to the cruising sailor. And the other part of the revolution that's going on is this is now extending to the power cats, which are providing, and that's a big market.
Yep.
And people can see the challenges of that. Well, my organisation sells a wide variety of motor yachts and sailing yachts, from 130 feet down to 30-foot cruising yachts and sailing boats and whatever. So we have a pretty good gauge and a pretty good understanding of where the general yachting market is, and we can just see that the power cat in particular is where there is enormous amounts of growth, and particularly the power cat. In the old days, when the power cat sort of came on, basically they were cruising catamarans where they took the mast out of them and just put slightly bigger engines in them, and off they went. Now, technology, and particularly with McConaghy's, the design that goes into these boats, they've got significantly reduced beams, they're much more efficient, they're very performance orientated to give these boats long range and whatever, and what these boats are capable of doing, can deliver fantastic levels of accommodation, but across oceans very, very efficiently, and provide a level that we've never seen.
I mean, we just launched one of our 63s, and we actually shipped it to Australia, and it basically motored from just north of Sydney to Auckland, and it did it in, I think it was 60 hours, something like that. So
that's ridiculous.
Yeah, and I mean, this has got a semi-fixed foil underneath it. It takes 50% of the displacement away, so it saves like 30% fuel burn. So all these
That's
things,
incredible.
the technology that we're learning from, performance yachts or foiling boats, we're now putting into our cruising boats. It's a fixed foil, no maintenance. You know what I mean? It's very user friendly. But then you get this long range power cat that can do 36 knots, and you can travel, across oceans in. So, we're pretty excited about that, and the level of interest. I mean, I think we're going to maybe sign, another 2 of them in the next month or so. So the level of interest is high.
Congratulations.
That static foil and the efficiencies that brings. I mean, it amplifies the benefit of the power cat, and by the big challenges that we have with power cats, if we're looking at efficiency, which is what pretty much all the modern owners are looking for, is that the combination of high-end, high-tech composite construction, which is obviously keeping the weights to making the boats as efficient from a weight perspective as possible. The slightly, the narrow and the hull forms, the highly developed hull forms, which are using the same design technologies and approach that an America's Cup boat would have or whatever, and combine that with the very exciting static foils that they've introduced that have been introduced onto this 63. All the technology of which is stemming from what McConaghy's have done in the past, be it America's Cup foiling boats or the foiling moths that they've built, God knows how many hundreds of, are making these providing genuine, tangible benefits to owners.
Absolutely,
and I believe it's giving us that competitive edge in the market.
Yeah, I mean, the thing also that we're providing, which I think is really important, we're providing a platform for a client. Then they come along and we actually draw their general arrangement in and basically design everything of the interior with them. So they basically get a custom built boat, but with our platform. So that's how we approach every single build. And then we're working with a high-end interior designer, M2 Atelier, out of Italy. So now you're getting, high-end finishes throughout the yachts and high-end fittings and fixtures, and you're in a very customized boat. So we're not a company that wants to do 300-400 boats a year. We want to do 15-20 boats a year and provide a very bespoke product and very high-end and very customized to the client that performs and fuel efficient or as a wind speed multi-hull, either.
Right, a bespoke custom boat utilizing the most advanced and best technologies. And then circling back to what you've both now touched upon, Mark and Nick, with respect to those, the technological advances and the efficiencies, those correlate over a relatively short period of time, millions of dollars reduced or savings in across a number of customers' operations of a vessel.
Yeah. I mean, if you take, for instance, is that we can, with the hull shell and the structure, we can save weight. Then you can put smaller engines in. Then you put a smaller propeller shaft in. Then you put a smaller propeller on. Then you need smaller fuel tanks. So the knock-on effect by saving the weight early goes all the way down. So you're saving weight. As soon as you start light, then you can keep them getting lighter throughout the construction of the build. And this is what a lot of people, might not even think about when you're considering about building light. Is that as soon as you save, a couple of tons at the beginning, you're probably saving 10 tons throughout the whole construction process.
And the other benefit is, the other benefit is obviously you refer to the savings, the cost of savings of fuel and whatever. The reality of this thing is these boats, the price of the build of one of these boats is significant, and it's. I think what we find is more the owners they're very, very environmentally aware, and they will invest a lot of money in trying to reduce the impact of their leisure time on the environment, and so they will go to the extent of going to someone like McConaghy's to build a super efficient power cat or sailing cat. And then because of the ability of McConaghy's to be able to, in effect, customize what is a fundamental platform, customize the boat, they're actually able to provide them with all the other associated systems. So, for example, all the hotel services on a modern McConaghy power cat will be it'll be a combination of solar panels, very effective, very efficient power packs, wind generators, all these sorts of things to enable the boat to operate as efficiently from an energy perspective as possible. And it's a combination of all these elements. The composite construction, it's the reducing the drag, using the static foils, therefore bringing that down. We can use, as Mark was saying, reducing the weight, smaller engines, etc., and then through design and using the latest technology, we can instill really serious, efficient power management systems on these boats. But it's not so much about the cost. It's more about the owner's impact on the environment, which I think all of us are very conscious of these days.
Yeah, and the one thing about us coming from a custom boat building background, we're very nimble. To make a change is basically in our DNA. So I mean, a lot of the boats that we build, the client they're doing a lot of research themselves, and they come to us with what about this and what about that, and so it's not all about us doing the research. It's we get fed a lot of information, and then we go in, we dive in, we do the research on their behalf, and then we give recommendations whether that would work or won't work. But this loop that we're having about environmentally friendly is a long, drawn out conversation over the whole construction of the yacht. And we've found, really energy efficient air conditioning systems. We've found really energy efficient pumps and all sorts of things. So we're constantly looking to see how we can save weight is one thing, and then energy is the other.
And what's so exciting, I would imagine, Mark, is when you, in designing and creating at the level you do, with the technologies you do, with the experience you do, the genius that you do, and then having as you're doing bespoke builds and having these incredible customers, of course, and they're being engaged with you because it is, again, bespoke along the way. Your customers then, not only do they take that much more stock and have that much more of a connection with what then you ultimately deliver, but they probably, I would imagine, end up becoming some of your greatest inspirations and perhaps providing you with some of your greatest ideas that then either you use in those builds or additional builds, right? Because your customers are engaged with you and the build along the way.
Yeah, and these are very experienced people, and they all bring something new to the table, and I'm speaking to them all. So, I mean, this wealth of knowledge, that's coming in from on different points of view of how you operate a boat and so forth. So when you're speaking, say a new customer, I have this wealth of knowledge that I'm learning from all these very experienced people that are in that cruising sector. And it's really good. You can recommend things, and and we've built it, and we've seen any problems with it as well. So this learning curve it's never ending, especially with the technology changing so quickly.
Yeah.
It's The next thing you know, have you seen this product, Mark? And can we put this on the boat? And I'll go, I don't know what it is. Let's have a look at it and let's figure it out. And then you start diving into it and go, this is actually a very good product, and I'm going to put it on every single one of my yachts. You know what I mean? So,
and if I can from the sales and marketing side, from my position, what the service that McConaghy's are building, are providing for, as we're talking about, for this sort of build, is unique in so much that the owners are dealing, because of the relatively low volume, the owners are, where Mark finds the time, I do not know, but he's able to give our clients, who are all, one, to be able to afford to buy a McConaghy catamaran, they're going to be pretty smart people in the first place. Yeah. They're tech savvy, that's why they've come to McConaghy, so therefore they're going to be pretty demanding and pretty well informed in all sorts of different subjects. And Mark is dealing directly with them. We sit, as the sales guys, there's our clients, the owners are dealing with the principal of McConaghy to talk about the building of their boat. And as Mark was saying, they're able to call upon this ever-increasing pool of data and information and technology that is which is evolving so very quickly. But as Mark says, McConaghy's are an incredibly nimble organisation, and they're able to adapt and accommodate. I look at, I represent our group represents a large number of manufacturers who build significantly more, and they just can't possibly adapt as quickly to the changing times and technology as someone like McConaghy's does. And it's interesting. It's so dynamic in the build, and they're so able to accommodate the custom side, particularly on the systems and the build, and even the design and the layout, whatever. The owners become so engaged in the whole process. In actual fact, I suspect they get more of a kick out of the build process than they actually do out of using the boat, because it is, and they are, they get off the call talking about whatever, and they are absolutely, they're lit up. They're so animated about what they've been doing. Oh, brilliant, da 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 da. And actually, it's a two-way split. We come away going, oh, that's fantastic. That's brilliant. This static foil that they've put on this 63-foot power cat is no one. That's mind-blowingly is a mind-blowingly positive element. And when more and more people come to understand it and see what benefits it provides, that's fantastic. And frankly, there's no one else doing that sort of thing in the world. So that's their USP. Their USP is that they're able to adapt and develop and accommodate the latest technologies very, very quickly.
And with the experience of doing it for over a total of 50 years, and then with respect to the and so very well said, Nick. Thank you so much. And I'll let you guys get going. I know how incredibly busy you are, and I've almost had the benefit of having 30 minutes of your time. Is for you, Mark, how exciting now heading into now we are in 2023, well underway, halfway through the month. In 23 years, the technologies that you've worked with each of these bespoke builds, whether it's for a private customer, for the America's Cup, etc., but to watch these technologies continue to accelerate almost on a daily basis now at the rate they're with, how incredible is that for you to reflect back on and look at what you've done in those 23 years and to see the dynamics and the changing of the technologies, correct?
Yeah, if you take the technology of, it used to be fast to have a trim tab on the back of a fixed foil on a monohull sailing yacht, and now we're building foils that lift the boat out of the water, and with autopilot fly control and all this sort of thing. It's just absolutely incredible. Arms that, wings that come up and down, and the level of technology and the systems that go into these boats, and the power packs and the new motors, how efficient they are, electric motors and hydraulic systems, how small, and nitrogen gas bottles and all these sorts of things that we're putting into the boats now that help make these boats function is just, you scratch your head and go, it's incredible.
Right. If 23 years ago your current self said to yourself then, this is what's going to be happening, you'd probably have a difficult time even believing it, right?
Yeah. You would never in your life think you'd be building a falling monohull. Never.
And now and then again, just because, and this is so exciting and fantastic, and Nick described it so well with respect to how those that are so very fortunate to become customers of yours, to then be engaged each and every step of the way, and to actually be in direct communication with you, the genius, obviously with your team, of course, as well, but that is designing what is one of their ultimate greatest purchases in life. It's really often it's that testament. It's that, as I've discussed with many exceptional yacht brokers and builders, is what's so exciting is often this is the ultimate purchase and expression of that individual's accomplishments in their life and whatnot. So they're so very passionate about it.
Yeah, no, absolutely. And I spend a huge amount of time with each customer, and they're very 99% of them are very detail orientated to up to millimeters within cabin spaces and all the GA. Like, they walk through every single space, every single shelf, every detail, fiddle detail, all the detailing that we put in the boat. Every customer walks through with us, so that's a lot of work.
It is.
And then we turn around to draw it, get it approved, and then we have to build it. So it's, that
and then we have to build
very
it.
Customized.
Then we have to build it. All right, Mark Evans, Nick Griffith, thank you both so very much for taking the time. I hope that we can do this again soon and not wait over a year. Mark, I really appreciate you guys' time. Thank you so much. McConaghy, McConaghy Boats, BOATS.com. Is there anything I didn't ask that I should have, or anything that we didn't touch upon that you would like to?
No, I think we're pretty well covered. I don't think anything else from my side. Nick?
No, I just the point. The thing to keep in mind is it's bloody good fun. Marketing, selling, building these boats.
Well said.
Because the technology is there. It is a very, very, we're very fortunate to be involved in this sort of situation, to be able to get involved in building these sorts of fabulous products. That's what I enjoy about it.
Well said. And
they're pretty incredible. We are very lucky to have clients like we do.
Well said. I was just about to say, and to have the clients you then are so fortunate to work with, and they of course know how fortunate they are once they take ownership of and step on board the beautiful works of art that you create for them. All right, Nick and Mark, thank you so very much. I hope you have a fantastic weekend, and I so greatly appreciate your time on this Exceptional Elevated Yachts podcast. Take care.
Good. Cheers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Okay, bye-bye.